Right. Go live. Click on the go live button, Andy. That will help. Yeah. Dee-dee. Oh, squeaky chair. Squeak, squeak. Right.
Is that my chair? Your chair?
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's my chair. My chair's a squeaky mess.
Okay.
Right. Right. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bits and Pieces podcast, episode 25. Yes, we are. We are. I don't know if we're not halfway there. We're a quarter of the way there to
Yeah,
100.
quarter.
But yeah, who knows? We'll be celebrating episode 500 probably 2 years from now,
That'd be
3 years from
awesome.
now.
Imagine
Um,
that'd be so cool.
yeah, that'd be wicked. But yeah, welcome, and once again, Twitch does not update the stupid talk and podcast. I hate Twitch. You pain. Right, there we go. All gravy now. So as usual, we're joined by the wonderful, the amazing PizzaBeth, and this time to the bottom left of me,
Hello.
and just across the way from me, at arm's length. Look, I can't reach him. Look,
Arm length, halfway
the
around.
wonderful Mr. Steve,
Oh, Mr. Steve.
Funnybitboi, the head honcho and wonderful host of our Bits and Pieces podcast. So we've got the usual spotlights. Well, I've got an impression of a game I played, which Jerry did a spotlight on last week. So I'm just going to talk about my experience with Road 96. Beth has got a spotlight, and so does Mr. Steve. And then we've got afterwards we've got a couple of special spotlights because it's our 25th anniversary. No, it's not. It's our 25th episode, but we're celebrating games that I got confused there for a minute. We're celebrating talking about games that have 25 years celebration this year. So for this our 25th episode, I'm going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII, which celebrates its 25th year. And Mr. Steve is talking about dun 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 Goldeneye, which which celebrates the 25th celebration this year as well. So we're going to be talking about those. Hopefully not too long. I'll try to keep mine short. It's a game that I've only put like 800 hours in to try and keep it short. Yeah, and then we've obviously got some gaming news, and I actually didn't get a chance to mention this in the pre-chat. I've got some roasting to do.
Oh.
Lost Ark. Lost Ark. I'm
Oh.
looking at you. I'm coming for you. I'm coming
Okay.
for you.
All
Yeah,
right.
coming for you. Freedy's roast is coming. It's getting primed and ready.
I'm curious about what you got a roast.
So yeah, death to microtransactions and shilling your customers.
Yes.
Don't like it. No,
No.
Freedy says no.
Brady says no.
Bad, bad. Amazon, bad Smilegate.
It's gonna get you guys'
Uh,
stream up.
and I'm just gonna go on my phone like a professional I am.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 25th episode of the Bits and Pieces podcast. And we're coming to you
Whoa.
live on twitch.tv /Funnybitboi or over on twitch.tv /Freedyshow. And I don't know, Beth is streaming as well.
Not today.
No, not today. But
I occasionally do.
yeah. So before we start then, welcome in to my two co-hosts, the lovely Freedyshow
Hey.
and the even lovelier the pizza that is Beth.
I am
Hello.
pizza. That is Beth.
Pizza
Hello.
Hello, to the both
Hello,
of
Mr.
you.
Steve.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Mr. Steve.
There we go. Don't forget the title now. I'm getting
No.
used to it now, so I'm now going to play up to it. So, how are you
Yep.
both doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, and I'm
Yeah.
excited as always.
As always.
As always, yeah. Wonderful to be here. Can't wait to get into it. As always.
As always. So,
Yeah.
for anyone who is new to the show, we are the Bits and Pieces podcast. We are we're a small but growing slowly podcast. Who, like I said, this is our 25th episode, and we're very excited by this. Now, normally what we do is we do a spotlight, a game that we liked, played recently, or maybe we've played, in the past, and we just want to bring it to people's attention that what our thoughts could be just the first impressions if it's just a couple of hours into a game, or like myself tonight, I've got a game that I'm going to talk about, and then we'd like to touch on other games that we've played in the just recently. I think Freedy's got a game that we may have spotlighted. I think Jellyoko spotlighted last week, but Freedy wants to actually bring his thoughts to that. And then Beth has got a spotlight for us as well. And then later on, we'll go into some news, some whatever is out there at the moment. Sometimes it's relevant. Sometimes it's not great. So we just try to avoid the dingy stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the real gritty stuff that we like to get our teeth into.
Yeah.
Occasionally we can sort of lose ourselves a little bit. But because it is Freddie's little laugh there, giving it away just to sort of let us know he does enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I do.
And if you hadn't gathered, it is the 25th episode, so we've decided to look back at the last 25 years ago, what came out in 1997. Today being, of course, the 23rd of April 2022. I don't normally mention the date normally, but I think it's just to bring into the year. I more so the year. So this year celebrates 25 years of games that came out in 1997. So I'm going to be looking at Goldeneye, which, as you all know, is probably one of the best Bond games that ever came out.
Yep.
We'll just talk about that later on. And Freddie, you're going to be talking about. Remind me again. Is it
Road 96?
Road
which Jelly spotlighted last week.
What was your game for 25 years?
Final Fantasy VII,
which recently had an
remake. I'm doing the original. The original
one. That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
so we're going to be talking about that. We'll have a little bit of news. Might see what's going on in the world of gaming, and then, as always, we'd like to always end on Beth's joke of the week.
Yes.
So there we go. That's the lineup for today's show. Let's get stuck in. Who wants to go first on today's podcast with the spotlights? Beth, who was it?
Not Freddie. Not Freddie.
No, that's all right. I was just joking.
No, you go Freddie.
Freddie's first. Come on.
No. Freddie.
Oh,
please.
okay.
Freddie,
Go ahead.
that's fine. You can go first.
Okay.
Go first.
You can go.
We'll save the best for last. Then
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll save Beth for last.
I don't. No.
No. What are you talking about? So obviously, Road 96. Hang on one second. Let me just get the trailer up for the lovely people at home.
Is this the
watching.
horror game?
No.
Okay.
No. This is an adventure game.
Oh. Tell me. Spill the beans.
I will.
I don't know about this game.
So hang on. I'm just getting sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting the trailer up for those that are watching.
All right. Yeah.
We are very prepared, everyone. As you always know.
I'm super professional, as you can tell.
Yes.
Right. So Road 96 is a choice-based narrative where you play a random team between the ages of 16 to 18, trying to escape this politically damaged country and get out of it to pass the border, which is heavily protected, to get out and start your life anew. And I'll get into some grievances I have with the overall story. But the gist is you've got to navigate your way through the characters you meet and the situations you find yourself in, which is all randomly generated and has lots of choices, which don't actually amount to a lot. For the most part, it's running the same beats. But it is a very good game despite that. But for me, my impressions of it, I played about 5 hours of it now, and it was based on the recommendation of Jay last week. and the graphics are good. The soundtrack is amazing. The voice acting is a bit hit and miss. Some voice acting is really good, and some of voice acting is like it's like really. It's just like how are you even in this game? It's sometimes it distracts from the story and the severity of the situation. Especially when you got the two characters they are funny. They do annoy me. They do annoy the crap out of me. Stan and Mitch. I they're
What?
funny, but they do my head in. Right? It's after a while the gimmick gets really old.
Yep.
But there is a really good mini game in it where you have to survive a chase sequence, and you got to do left and right, and there's no way you can do it without getting hit. It's so hard. There's some cool mini games in it. There's a football mini game. There's a spot the ball under the cup mini game, which is
Oh yeah.
I don't know how I got it because I streamed it earlier, and I don't know how I got it. It was when it's super fast, like you couldn't even see what bloody cup it was, and I
You
guessed it
got it.
correctly. Yeah, I
Oh,
was so chuffed. I was like, yeah, big
nice.
celebration. And I got myself 100 smackaroonies for that, which is quite a lot in that game. In the game, so you basically start off with no money. You've got to hitchhike your way across the country. There's two political rivals, and it's all centered around this event that was caused by rebels back in 1986. It caused some sort of collapse, and hundreds of people died. And the people that died are affected the main characters in your story. And some of the characters' names, you got Zoe, who is a young teen you meet on your travels. You got John, who's a truck driver who's actually part of the rebel cause. You've got the reporter Sonia, who's quite a focal point in the whole game, and you've got Stan and Mitch, who are the two jokey characters, but they are actually bad guys. They do rob people, but they're robbers with a good heart. They're not real, like they're not super bad, but they're not super good either. And you've got the mysterious character that's the taxi driver. He's the murderer of the whole thing. He's the one you need to be aware of. It's not hidden well. He can blatantly tell straight away. When you first meet him, he starts talking to you about his personal life for some reason. There's no excuse. You just meet him and he starts talking to you, and he goes, "You better get away from here. I'll kill you."
Oh.
So so yeah. Yeah. The characters are great, right? And the story, the concept is really good. The execution is good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for the most part. But after about the third and a half, about 3 hours in, after then I'm on my fourth teen character. I've got to know the characters in the game, and I'm starting to get a bit fed up with the samey choices. You're literally forced to pick a political narrative, so you can try and abstinate as much as you like. But if you don't get directly involved, if you don't pick a side, basically the story goes round in circles. So if you don't pick one side or the other, there's one guy called Tyrak who's a complete buffoon. He's abusing the people. He's making teenagers disappear. He's making crossing the border illegal. He's doing everything he can to stop people leaving the country, and he's ruining the country. He's been a dictator, basically a horrible dictator. And the other person, we don't know much about. I haven't got that far in the story. I don't know anything about her. Other than her rival, and things will apparently be better under her, even though don't know anything about her, and I can't remember her name, unfortunately. And then so you get these percentages every time you start a game. You pick a fresh team to try and escape with, and they give you like whoever's in the lead politically, and you can impact this through your actions on certain NPCs in the game. I got a bit fed up because I didn't care. I was like, I don't give a monkey, so I just want to get out of the country. So my first playthrough, I got arrested within 5 minutes.
Oh
So
wow.
I didn't know what I was doing, and it's like, right, okay. So I'm 10 minutes into the game, been arrested. Start again. Okay, start again. And the second time round, I escape. I get across. I'm not going to go too much into spoiler territory, because it is a good game,
Mhm.
um, for the most part for me. But I will get into my grievances in a little bit. And you escape, and then obviously that impacts the story. Then you get Sonia comes back with a news report, and that way of escaping is then taken off. So you can't escape it that way again. So every time you escape, there's a different way you have to get across the border. Now, this leads me to the bit I got annoyed with was that the fourth time round, I'm about 3.5 hours in. This is where I started getting annoyed with the game. I got the same like scenarios. I got the same sort of scenarios, the same situations I had the second time round. I was on the bus. I was with a police officer. I had the same situation plan out. Only this time, she she went nuclear and pulled her gun out, and I was like, "What?" I managed to convince her to get off the bus. So, like, for some reason, a police officer who listens to a snotty-nosed 16-year-old, I was just like, "Yeah, okay, so whatever." But she was getting pressure from everybody. It's a very political narrative, and that was like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, and then I had to do it again. So I had to do that twice, which got annoying, and I had the same kid with her. So that was like a little bit of a plot hole, if you like. A car had broken down twice. She had the same team with her twice, trying to escort him across the country twice.
See,
I was
see.
like, so because it's supposed to be like a flowing narrative where your
Yeah.
choices have impacts, and I had a couple of the same stuff over and over again. And then you're talking to NPCs, and you get three choices. They ask you a political question that even if you just meet somebody, they're like, "Oh, what are your thoughts on Tyrak? What are your thoughts on the other person? And what do you think of the violence?" Blah, blah, blah. Um, and I'm like, is there no other conversation we could be having? Like, how the fuck do I get out of here? Flores, her name is. Sorry, Flores. How the fuck do I get out of here? You know, and you can vandalize the posters, and apparently that has an impact on the storyline. I've yet to see what that does. Um, and I just got a bit fed up with it. Got a bit fed up with the political narrative. It sort of drags on too long. It takes over a lot of the story, and there's not a lot of context to it at the time. So it's very interesting. It's well written. When the story's firing all cylinders and when it flows, and you're not getting interrupted like the same stuff, and you're not getting the same dialogue choices. I mean, I'm 5 hours in at this point now, and you know it's you're supposed to have like 1,000 different endings according to them, according to their own description on the it's not no one's playthrough is going to be the same. No, I disagree with that. It's going to be very similar, especially if you're picking the same sort of stuff. If you try and abstinate from all the decisions, you will get the same stuff because the game wants you to pick a side, so it won't let you play it like it won't let you not get involved. So no matter how many new characters you make, you will have to make a choice. Eventually, it'll remove the neutral option, like it did to me. So I had to pick a choice. So I was like,
Oh.
oh, well, fuck Tyrak then. Because I didn't want to get involved, because if you get involved one way or the other, um, it has impact. It has massive impacts on your character, and certain characters in the game do not like certain political views. So if you swing one way or the other, that's it. You will find yourself in situations you have to escape from. Um, and I managed to escape only to get killed by a mini game at the border because I didn't know when to do it. Because
Oh,
it come up. So it's this mini game. You got to hide, don't move, and the other one is you have to have a snack on you to throw at the dog so it doesn't sniff you out because you're on the back of a lorry trying to escape. And then the
hmm.
third one is a breathing detector, and it said, "Oh, it said press the button to hold your breath." So I held it, and then I let go because I thought it was just like a tutorial thing. But then the timer, as I let go, the timer thing clicked down from when I was supposed to have done it, and of course, as I let go, so I let go, and then I automatically failed the thing
Oh
with
dear.
no retry because obviously I wasn't expecting it to
Yeah.
happen. So that pissed me off because I did a certain couple of things that was quite hard to do to get there.
Oh.
So I was like, no, I was like, oh my god, I got to do this again. And then like and as soon as it booted back up, I was in the same situation again, talking to the same people, doing the same beats. And then I was in the point where I couldn't progress the story. The game bugged out.
Oh dear.
I couldn't make any choices. I was in the truck with John. His dialogue had disappeared, and there was nothing to look at, nothing to click on. I clicked on his wallet in the compartment, and he went, "You better leave that alone." I was like, "Oh," and then the game just sort of broke, and and I sort of stopped. I quit the game after that. I ended my stream. It's on the VOD if you want to watch me play it at some point in the future. But it's just it's good. I'm not discarding it as not a good game. It is a very good game, but there's a few loopholes. There's a few nuances that I don't like. Some of the voice actors I don't like. The soundtrack is probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in any video game ever. If I can get the track on Spotify, I'm going to be listening to that all the time. I will say it has the best gaming soundtrack, even better than Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's saying something in terms of aesthetic, how it comes in, choosing, and some of the characters I really do love. Zoe, I love. No, I did love Zoe until she'd done something really stupid in one of the scenarios, and then you have to go and yeah,
Oh,
I'm not going to spoil it too much, but she
oh,
pissed me
so
off. Right, she pissed me off, and I was just like, "Why? Why did you do that? Why? What was the matter with you? Why? Why? It was perfectly fine, and you started opening your gob and ranting at the police officer. Why? Why? Why?" I was just like, I was so annoyed. Right, I was so annoyed. And then the next time I saw her, I was like, "Yeah, fuck you. I'm going, Sodja." And I didn't, but I felt like it. I felt like drop kicking her in the face. Stupid cat. Um, but yeah, and then there's a couple of Stan and Mitch. Shut up! I hate Stan and Mitch. They annoy me. I used to like them, and then I hate them now. I fucking hate them. And then the whole bit where you have to help them in their hideout. I don't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what to do. I was just like, I don't know. Get me out of here. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. It's one of those
I'm
challenges.
very curious about this game now.
It's very good. It's very. Don't let me dissuade you. It is a very
Yeah,
good game. It's just that my overall impressions is that I didn't
it
enjoy all
seems.
of it, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for the most part. It's just that I hope that the narrative isn't as repetitive as it's starting to become with some of the political choices. I'm hoping that it's because I keep getting the same ending where the world blows up. So
Hey,
yeah,
that's a little bit of a
the
spoiler.
world's yeah, but it's only one ending
Spoiler.
of like 20. So
Okay, but it's
it's like
still a spoiler.
it's the default ending if you get caught, and it's the default ending if you die.
Okay. All right.
So
Right.
it's like it's not really a spoiler. It's in the trailer. Everything's on
Okay.
fire, and like all
Okay.
the characters you meet are all
All
like
right. I'll
crying
let
and
you
shit.
off. I'll let you off.
So yeah, but it is a very good game. It's just I have a few niggly things that just bring it down a peg. But yeah, it's I don't know how much it is. I think it's 15 quid, 20 quid, something like that on Steam. It's £11 on CD keys, but they're out of stock, or at least when I looked, they were out of stock. But you can probably and it's 15 quid on GTA. It's on consoles as well. I'm not sure I think it's on all the consoles. Not 100% certain if it's on the Switch or not, but it's definitely worth a playthrough. It's hundreds of hours in this game, like trying to find all the endings. I've got 5 of the 12 achievements already. Um, so it's definitely worth the price. But just bear in mind if you don't like some things repetitive, or you don't like crappy voice acting in places, it's going to annoy you like it did me a little bit. But it's still a very good game. I highly recommend it, definitely, despite the things it's despite its faults. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. So it's definitely worth owning and putting in your library. I know Steve's played it as well because he's got it, and Jelly's played it, and
I
Jelly's
do have some questions
yes,
about.
far away.
I'll ask some questions and then Mr. Steve can. Cause I know he put his hand up. No, I just wanted to ask. So whenever you start a game up, is it meant to be completely different at the start, or is it the same at the start of the game? And
It's
then depending
it's
what you choose, it goes into a different part.
yeah, it will reference your choice that you made or whatever happened to your team at the end of your last playthrough, and then you pick and then it basically goes to a hotline
Yeah.
thing where you pick your new character, and you'll have a starting segment. You'll have various energy levels. That's why I didn't even get into the energy mechanic. You have an energy bar that you've got to keep up throughout the entire game, and you have
Okay.
to do this via food, resting. Certain actions will restore energy, like sleeping or resting, or some NPCs can even give you energy if depending on what you've done. But for the most part, if you keep your energy up, you can get to the border as long as you don't mess up your QTEs and the events and stuff that you get throughout the game. If you run out of energy before you get to the border, your guy will just collapse and you'll get arrested or you'll die.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, that's what didn't mention that mechanic. That's my bad. Um, so yeah, so you'll get given a choice of 3 starting characters, boy or girl, and each of them will have different money amounts and different stamina bars, depending
Okay.
on where you want to start from. But
Okay.
you always start at the same point, but you'll have different story introductions every time. But I had the same story introduction twice.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I've only made 5 characters. So, I don't know if
Oh.
that's rare, but I didn't. That's it. Just slightly annoyed me, just very slightly. So yeah. So I won't say any more than that because I know Steve wants to get in and
Yeah. Go on,
talk.
Steve. That's all I
Um,
wanted to
uh,
ask. So.
So off the back of last week's podcast, we had Jelly Ogre in, and who spoke about this as well, and the way he was talking about, because as a console player, like so as Freddie mentioned as well, it is on Xbox, and so as a console player, it was good to have someone who doesn't just who doesn't have access to PC games. So it was always interesting anyway to hear, because as I said to Jelly at the time, I would have missed it had he not mentioned it, because it's not something I sort of look for. It's not something that I happen upon, even though it's on Steam. And just to
Yeah.
let you know, on Steam it is currently $16.96. So if you can find it cheaper elsewhere, I would recommend buying it cheaper, just because of some of the things that I can agree with on Freddy's playthroughs. It's interesting because I played it through. Out of the two of us talking today, I played it through first, and then I think he came into my stream and watched it, and then as a result. So thanks to Jelly, 4 of us have now jumped onto this game. So actually, it was a very good sort of recommendation. I never experienced. I experienced some of the things that Freddie was just speaking about, but I had sort of 3 outcomes. Now I'm not saying I would say that one of them was probably a victory, whereas the other 2 weren't, because they're depending on your how you get to the border. There's different choices throughout the game anyway, so I know we've already covered it, but yeah, just depending on your choices throughout the game, I think it does make massive difference on what you get. So I was quite surprised, like, how different his playthrough was when I got picked up by Big Bear John in the truck. I got picked up during the day, so it seems that there's different dialogue that is built in. But when I watched 3D's stream, he got picked up during the night time. So whether there's 2 storylines played out or similar storylines played out and with different scenarios, depending on the time of day, so that may impact the gameplay as well. I'm sure it probably does in some point. So yeah, so it was interesting to see that Freddy's gameplay was so different. I mean, there is set pieces, because the game is on rails anyway, so you don't get a choice to. It's not really open worlds. You get stopped by invisible walls at certain points, so you can't go on any further, and you must choose whether to hitchhike, bus, or walk. And certain outcomes, as you said, your health or stamina depletes, and depending on your choices. But yeah, I just wanted to say my experience is different from Freddy's. Not too much different. Like, there is some repetitive moments there, and like as you asked, Beth, does the game start? I think the game does start for me. I had the same start as Freddy's game did, so I would say that's probably already predetermined at the start what your first character is, or whether it's male, female, or how old that is. And then once you get to the certain point, if that character dies, gets arrested, there's so many different scenarios that could happen. Or even actually you could get from mate. I would say I'll be well done to anyone who plays the character from start to finish and actually gets that good ending, because I don't know if you could straight away unless it was really lucky, because like I think you've got to choose and didn't look for hints and cheats, sort of thing. I don't think you'd actually get it straight away. But my second time playthrough was almost there. My third time playthrough, I'd got it, but I got an ending, and I won't say what, but I got an ending. It's most likely I got the bad ending, but just because of choices and that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and it was off the back of Jelly's recommendation. And yes, I do agree with some of the things that Freddie's said. There was a couple of times it was repetitive, but I'd go back into it again. I mean, I haven't picked it up since because I've been doing other things, but yeah, it's definitely got a lot of replayability if you can get over that that repetition.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my
Okay.
take on it.
It just needed a few more dialogue options for me. Just needed a bit
Yeah.
more, and I would have preferred if we had the characters we are longer and the journey was longer, so we get more story, coherent story. Because I feel like what hurts the game a little bit is the broken up story, and it's a bit jarring starting a new character all the time because you know these characters, but your character you're playing doesn't have a clue who they are.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
and then you want to talk to them about stuff you know, and you never get the opportunity to. So you never get the chance to sort of ask them about things and things you find out about them, and it's that sort of, to me, that's my only sort of really sort of
Yeah.
irritable thing
Yeah,
that I
no,
have is you can't sort of dig deeper into the story. It doesn't invest you as much because you're like, oh well, I'm going to be dead in like an hour, so what's the point? You know, or a new character. I don't really care about this, this character because I'm not. You don't get if you don't get anything new, you're just going through the story beats. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's get through this section and get to the next bit. And that's
Yeah.
the only time I felt like, oh, I'm getting bored now. But when it's progressing the story and you're finding out new information about the characters, the game is on fire. It is literally an awesome narrative. It's just getting to those awesome narrative bits sometimes can be a little bit tedious. At least for me, and I don't know. Everyone, like I said, Steve said everyone's playthrough is different. You might have playthrough and never get any of that because you're making the best choices all the time. So you'll get all the story beats and you'll get all the new stuff, and you won't go around in circles like I said, trying to be politically impartial. No, you can't do it in this game. You have to pick a side. Like nine, that one or that one.
Yeah. Okay. I am curious about it.
Yeah, no,
It looks cool.
definitely. I from my playthrough, I would recommend it, and I think even Freddie is saying it's still recommending it.
Yeah.
A
Just a little.
solid 8
nitpick.
out of 10 isn't a bad score anyway. So
No,
yeah,
still a very very good game.
yeah.
But,
Okay. I
just be
might pick that
prepared
up.
for a little
Just-
bit of
yeah.
repetition.
Yeah, exactly. I would absolutely echo that. Okay, so if we're done
Awesome.
that, should I move on to the next one? The next
Sure.
spotlight. Are you ready for this one, Beth, or should I go into my one anyway? Mine's gonna be quite short, to be fair.
Mine's gonna be short too.
Oh
so.
well then we're safe.
That's
We're
what she
safe.
said.
Oh, yeah.
we walked into that one, Mr. Steve.
Yeah. I anticipated it. I just didn't mention it.
Yeah. Okay. You can go.
I'll
You
go.
can
I'll go on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you go.
what I've been playing a lot of actually, this week is Planet Crafter. Planet Crafter. It came out on the 24th of March. So it's been out. It's actually almost to the day. It's been out about a month or so. It's been out about 4 weeks, and it's on Steam. I think it is only available as a PC game anyway. I did read about this a little bit. The devs have said that they currently have no plans for console release, which is a shame, really. I feel like more people should experience this game. I think it's quite a really good game. There's not much into it. There's not much you need to do. It's an open world survival base building crafting game set on a planet, so you're having to survive the elements that is another world without any atmosphere. So yeah, it's a space survival open world terraforming craft. You've got to try and transform the ecosystem of a hostile planet to make it more livable for human life. I played this first of all as a demo, which you can get on Steam. To get it as a demo, it's currently $14.99. I think I just missed out on a really good deal on it. I got this because I had some money in my Steam account. You can set up Steam accounts. I'm sure people are aware of that. But anyway, yeah. So I had because of a game that I traded in, so some couple of weeks ago, which we spoke about. which I'm not going to mention now. But yeah, anyway, I got some money saved up from it. It was good. It's basically, yeah, it's got similar aspects to sort of Subnautica. I would say we look at benchmarks, and we mentioned it again last week. We were looking at benchmarks. Just because of the aesthetics and the design of it, it's kind of similar, I would say, towards No Man's Sky in terms of its when they introduced the crafting mechanic into that game. Although it never had crafting in it, first of all, this game has a similar sort of you're holding a device in your right hand, and it's a sort of bog standard sort of crafting deconstruction device, and you be able to go around picking up certain elements around the world, around this planet. So as I said, I got it in the demo, and then I purchased it straight away, and the game continues on from where the demo left off. I would say if you're going to get this game, you probably will get a cutscene, and I think I missed the cutscene because I played the demo. So, but I think there is a cutscene to this, and yeah, it's a really good game. You go around, like I said, you've got to go around on this planet, and you've got to basically try and change the ecosystem of the planet by crafting certain items. The blueprints that come up are, if you're familiar with 7 Days to Die, you'll get a list of items that you need to do in order to progress on. So it tells you that you sort of don't have to, but you should do those things. So that's what reminded me straight away of 7 Days to Die, was the fact that there was a little checkbox at the top right hand corner. You must do this first so you can progress on. You got to do this first so you can get the next blueprints. Blueprints come along really quickly in this game. I mean, it is in early access, so I don't know what they're going to do with the down the road. But at the moment, there's no combat, so you don't have to worry about combat. Your biggest enemy is the atmosphere. There's no oxygen, so you need to craft water, and you need to be able to forage for some sort of food. You can. But like I said, you don't need to really worry about this, because it's really, like, unless you make a fool of yourself and not craft a certain item at a certain time, like I did. I mean, it's all trial and error, really, is how I experienced it. I didn't. If you're going to go off exploring, I would recommend straight away, make sure you've got enough things on you to craft a cube with a doorway. Once you open that cube, you'll get oxygen. So it's like, I didn't do that at first, and I kept dying as a result because I didn't take enough oxygen. So what would happen is you've got three things that you must look after: food, water, and oxygen. The oxygen depletes quicker than the water. The water depletes quicker than the food. So the food is more scarce. Water's easier to find. Pick up ice. Craft ice. You get a crafting thing. You start off in a pod. So like Subnautica, you had that pod to start off with, and then you gather your resources that you need to find. Like there's titanium, magnesium, cobalt, iron. All the usual things are there that you could help craft. Later on, you'll come across like uranium and stuff like that. So you'll be able to make radioactive nuclear power things. You know, that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to that. I'm trying to find the right words. Yeah. So it's a good, fun, chill game. It's not too strenuous. Well, I say that, and then I did my gameplay today was fairly strenuous. I did not realise that when you land on the planet and you come across you're in sort of valleys, and these valleys, once you get to a stage of developing water, those valleys start to fill up with water. You get like lakes and stuff. So my base that I crafted actually became a bit of a swimming pool. It was like underneath all this water, and like slowly my base was getting drowned out. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna move everything or try and find everything. But that's again, as I said, it's all trial and error. You can find so much to find on this planet that you'll be able to craft things that grow plants. You'll be able to find things that will help Drilling. You need to drill. You need to create drills to release the pressure of the planet. Obviously, that, as we know, releasing pressure helps the planet with its atmosphere and stuff. So you can.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you got that to do. You need to craft solar panels or wind turbines. As I said, you got nuclear power stuff as well. So you got that, or radiation power thing. Yeah, so you've got that to sort of contend with. And literally, I think I played on the demo, I probably put about 3 hours into it. So it's quite a lot of in the demo. I'm currently on about 18 hours in the full game now that I've purchased it.
Wowsies.
So that's a lot of hours put into this game. It's just because it's so chill. It's good for me to come home from work. It's been a long day, and I've got a choice. I can either go home, play Elden Rings, and get stressed out before which is what you want to do before you go to sleep, isn't it? Or you can chill.
Yeah.
Or you could chill out with Planet Crafter, and Planet Crafter for me has been one of those great games that I've been doing. Like I said, 18 hours in the last sort of 2 weeks. I think I've had the game, and I've been crafting this massive base, and then all of a sudden it's now been flooded in water because I unfortunately I've put it at the bottom of a lake. A dried lake at the start became a wet lake. So I've reached the stage of creating water. I've reached the stage of creating wind and rain. So those elements are now coming in. You'll get blueprints come along quite quickly. So just as you upgraded one thing, like you got a booster pack, so you got a booster, you got a backpack. When I created my first backpack to carry some stuff, I think it was only about 20 minutes, and then the second one got upgraded. I was like, wow, this is really quick, so I can carry more stuff. Depending on your type of gameplay, if you're familiar with like Valheim and stuff like that, you could stack things. In this, you can't stack things. I would say that's that could be a downside or a good thing depending on your style of gameplay.
It's a bit like Subnautica, where you can't stack things.
You can't
either,
stack things in that either. No, you'd have to keep going back to. I had to craft so many different lockers in both that and this as well. Like I've crafted so many different lockers. Just so many. It's like I've just created a room just full of lockers. It's like all it are. Because you do start off with like the typical sort of like 6x2 stacked crafting boxes that you get. You'll see, Minecraft has a similar sort of thing. You could only stack. You had to put, if you put two chests together, you get a big chest. But it's the same scenario. You can only probably stack maybe 10 items in each box, and then the blueprint comes along that you can create. I think it's up to 30 items. So you can have up to 30 items. Again, your backpack can upgrade your backpack, so that becomes up to 30 items. So you can carry basically the contents of a locker in your backpack. But then, of course, you've got to be careful what you carry, because you want to make sure you've got oxygen capsules and water. Not, again, like I said, food isn't such an important thing, but you can craft food in this. I've now got to the stage of tier 2 food crafting. And I'm quite close to tier 3, so that'll be just around the corner. You can launch rockets, which will enable you to have a much broader picture of the planet by launching a rocket, which does which maps out the whole planet for you. Or I think I just launched the tier 1 and I've just unlocked tier 2, so you can have that. But you need to craft some computers displays to give you a display of like oxygen, heat, electricity. I'm trying to think. Surviving Mars was another similar game that I played, which had same sort of mechanics. Now, I didn't realize with this, if you craft wind turbines or any source of power. Thank you. that helps you give electricity. In something like Surviving Mars, I felt I had to also create cables to link up to like the drills, for instance, or the water catcher. There's a nice sort of water catcher which will give you 4 times water. Instead of crafting like one piece of ice to get water, you get 4 times water. That needs power. This game, just you could put your power source anywhere around the planet and it would be enough. It's somehow linked, and I'm not sure how that kind of works.
Magic.
It's sort of magic. Yeah, it's a little bit too easy. I mean, maybe that's what people want. I don't know, but having played so many more, like with Surviving Mars, it was a much more difficult game to get everything right, and you did send up rockets, which took in game sort of like 10 minutes, but like it would have taken like 4 years. By the time it counts down, it's something like you'd wait for. Whereas this one's is instantaneous. Everything's there. Once you've got the blueprint, that's it. You just craft that item that you need. Again, it's in early access, so I would say they might change some elements. I'm not sure if there's going to be any type of combat. Currently, there isn't any combat in this. It's just you and the elements. And
There's not going to be any combat.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be any there's plant life, but there is also bacteria. So I'm not sure if they're going to introduce wildlife. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't see why they couldn't. They could easily do that. Like if you're growing bacteria, that to me suggests wildlife eventually down the line. So yeah, that would be interesting to see what sort of wildlife there was, and whether or not you'd be able to keep, if there was animals in it, or some type of that goes around eating all your grass that you've just grown, trying to chase them off, get out of it. It's just like, for what it is at the moment, it's a linear version of sort of Subnautica, if you like. There's nothing there to sort of kill you. There is meteor storms that happen if you do start slowly run down on resources. That helps provide more resources, but there's no damage impact. So I feel like it's very easy to play. You don't have to. You're not repairing nothing. Again, I refer to Surviving Mars. Whenever there was a meteor storm on that, you had to repair something. With this, you don't. So maybe it's yeah. Sorry, Beth.
Sorry. No, it's all right. Sorry, I was gonna just say it seems pretty just exploration and building.
It is.
No threat whatsoever.
Its core gameplay is exploration and base building, and like I said, you can get blueprints come around by doing some exploring through the planet. You do find some other blueprints as well. They are in the form of like a blue electrical chip, so that you pick up. So you'll take it back, and then you have to analyze it, which takes seconds. It's one of the first things that you craft is a monitor which helps you look at those microchips. So you'll discover that's another blueprint. There you go. You've added it blueprint. There's a few things that I haven't crafted. I just don't need it at the moment. There is faster mining. I don't need faster mining. I don't feel like it's the level that I'm at now. I don't feel like it needs it. But there is a tier 4 mining which I've just discovered. I'm at tier 3. I think that's fast enough. You're not going to die. You're not going to die. You're not going to die struggling to pick things up. Like once you've built the basic base, like I said, once you've got electricity on the planet, anytime you build a small base, I think my biggest complaint about this is not enough variety of base building materials, of blueprints. You've got a corner and what I think would be a 6 foot by 6 foot cube every time. So you put down these 6 foot by 6 foot cubes, or there's foundations, which again are only like sort of like, I think they're like 8 foot by 8 foot cubes. But they're the same shape. They're the same box shape as well. You can't. There's certain places you can't put those objects down because you'll get a red line around it. And I think we've experienced those before. If you look at any other base building game, Valheim has a similar sort of structure thing where if you couldn't put certain things up if it was red, it meant that it would collapse immediately, so you couldn't put those up unless it had ground support. This doesn't have ground support. This is more like Minecraft. You could build in the air. You could build anything in the air, and it's just, to me, I was struggling a little bit with the OCD thing of if it's not perfectly symmetrical, it's going to mess with my head. And
Yeah, I get
I was
that.
struggling a little bit with that.
Yeah.
Just because it can clip through things, and you're like, yeah, I arrive it. And I know games like this has that. It's just one of those things. It has that all the time. You can't help it. Sometimes procedurally generated games do that a lot, where certain elements that you need to collect are inside a rock, and you think, oh, that's really annoying. I can't place something down because something you can't see is in the way, just because the game has spawned it in. And it's like, oh, that's really frustrating. I can't place down my foundation because of an invisible thing. So that's a little bit. I did break the barrier that there's an invisible wall. I did break that. I managed to go outside of the game.
Oh, you broke it.
Yeah, I broke it. That was purely by accident. I didn't realise. I went up as far as I could. So there is like a limit to how far you can go. I'm not sure if there's going to be any extensions to the planet that you're on. But yeah, I managed to find the border, that invisible wall that takes you outside of the game, and all you can see is pixelate, framework. And it's like, okay, I've reached the game pixelation and frameworks and a wireframe. The wireframe outside where games before it had any textures put over it. So that was kind of disappointing that I managed to break it quite easily. But again, it's early access. Maybe they patch it. Hopefully they do. It's a small dev team. I think they're called Maiju Games, developed and published by. So they're a small team. They've been doing it for about 2 years. It's been in development for 2 years. It's finally in early access, as I said. But yeah, get a demo first. Try the demo out. Do what? Give it a go. Try it.
I was playing the demo earlier.
Yeah.
Because I was very curious about it, and I agree with, like, it does feel quite easy at the moment, and I've only just started playing.
Yeah.
So, but it's still really like chill, and like you said, and I'm definitely going to carry on playing it because I just think it's a really, like you said, chill game to just play.
It is.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, that's it. I can't really add much to it because I've said all that you need to know about the game. It's a base building. It's very straightforward. It's very basic in its way, but that doesn't make it boring. It makes it less strenuous from other games. If you want a more strenuous game, get something maybe like Subnautica, or as I said, Surviving Mars, or something similar to that. Although it's not quite the same. You've got a lot more stress with those games because you've got to worry about more elements attacking you, or like meteor showers destroying your thing. This won't, so if you want a harder game, get a harder game. If you want an easier experience of base building, then maybe this is more for you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
But yeah. Well, that's pretty much me done on that one.
Okay.
Unless anyone wants to add to anything, but yeah. I've enjoyed it. I'll carry on playing it for as long as until I get bored with it. Which at the moment I don't see that happening. It's I've got to go back into I want to do a new game actually. Try out see whether or not if Terraform is different, in terms of planet, if it is or if it's the same planet every time. I want to find out actually whether or not it. I must add, it's actually quite impressive actually. The overwhelming positivity on Steam, it's 96% of the 6,000 plus or 6,500 plus users have given this a overwhelming positivity on Steam. So which is since it's only been out on 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay.
So actually not many games can get that kind of a high score on Steam, not nowadays anyway.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, I thought I'd add that towards the end. There you go. Yeah, that's me done on that. Planet Crafter.
Awesome. All right. I'll go next then. So, this game is quite specific that because it's a VR game, so not everyone will be able to play this. But I just want to share my experiences of playing the game, and if you do have a VR headset, you probably already have this game. But if you're looking to get a headset, I want to kind of encourage you to get this game. So, what is Beat Saber? Well, Beat Saber is a game where you have two lightsabers in your hands, and these big cubes with arrows on them come towards you, and you have to slice them with your lightsabers. So they can be red cubes or blue cubes. You can also change the colors in the settings. Basically, they come towards you. You just chop them, and it's almost like a fruit ninja, lightsabers and fruit ninja, but with no fruit. So this game is available on Steam, Oculus Store, PlayStation Store. So you can. I'll go into a little bit of that. You can install mods for this, but you don't. If you have, for example, the Oculus version or the PlayStation version, you cannot download mods for it. So that just means you can't play custom maps that people have actually designed by getting a song that they may like and mapping it with the cubes to make it custom. But that said, do not fear, because the Beat Saber, they have loads of volumes and loads of music packs that actually come with the game, and some you have to buy. But I think, so all the Beat Saber themselves have their own OST. They have volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And volume 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs in it. Volume 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. Volume 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in volume 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. Or no, it might be 4 actually. But anyway, they have so many songs already that come with the game, and I think that's really cool. The fact that they give you a load of songs, and you don't have to worry. Like, it's their own songs, so you could probably play them on stream if you wanted to without DMCA issues. But unfortunately, if you want to play custom songs, you have to go through the process of, muting your VODs and all that to not get DMCA'd and all that jazz. But it's still streamable, which I will be doing hopefully next week. Please follow me on PizzaBeth on Twitch. Anyway, so lots of music to begin with. If you have the PC version, you can download mods. There's lots of tutorials online that you can watch, and you can download a bunch of custom songs. And I think that's where the game really thrives, that people can design their own maps. Some are good. Actually, most of them are good. Some are very, very bad and shouldn't be available to play. But people are learning, just because they want to make a map doesn't mean they can't. Like, if they're just starting out, they can, if you wanted to design, if you're into music and you wanted to design a map, you could do so, if you really wanted to. And I don't know if that made sense. I kind of rambled over that. I think mods really help the game thrive. It gives people the ability to play their favorite song if they wanted to, and discover new songs that they might never listen to. But the fact that you're beating cubes as you listen to it, that sounds really bad. I think is, I will say it's one of the funnest games I have ever played on VR, and I haven't played that many VR games, but it's so fun. Like it tricks you into exercising. Like the fact that it's a secret workout and you're having fun doing it. And I think that's one of the selling points is that it's fun and you get to work out. And there have been stories where people have actually lost weight playing this game, and I think that's absolutely amazing. But don't take that as like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get Beat Saber to lose weight. You would have to really like get good at the game and really push yourself to maybe do squats every 10 seconds, or like really get into it, and move and get sweaty. Um, so yeah, what else was I gonna say? I was gonna say that um I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, there was something on my mind, and um, I can't actually remember what I was gonna say. Hang on a minute. Oh yeah, so music packs. There's loads of music packs right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 music packs. Obviously, you have to pay for these, but they are exclusive kind of packs. There's Fallout Boy, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, Eilish, I think that's how you say her name. Linkin Park, Green Day, Imagine Dragon, Panic at the Disco, Monster Cat. So there's lots of songs, even if you don't have the PC version of the game. And going into difficulty, if you're thinking, oh, this might be a bit too hard, like I've seen gameplay, it's okay because they have easy, which is easy, obviously. They have normal, which brings the difficulty up a little bit. They have expert, and they have expert plus. Currently, I can only play on expert. Expert plus is very difficult. It's very fast, and you really have to move your arms. And I think that's where you can lose the weight, is if you get to expert plus or even expert, and you really start moving your arms. That's where it gets really a workout. I've been playing this game for the last week or so, whenever I can, and every time I'm done playing the game, I am sweating. Like I am tired, I am sweating, and I feel good because it's like I had fun while I was swinging my arms around, looking like a lunatic from the outside. But I'm having fun in this little box of mine, hitting these blocks, like being a Jedi. Like it's fantastic, and I recommend if you have. I'm sure most people who have a VR headset already have this game, and you can vouch with me. It's absolutely amazing. It's worth the money, every cent. The music packs are worth every cent. The fact that you can get probably thousands of songs for free if you have the PC version, that's even a bigger plus. They might not be good like map songs, but you can still play certain songs and stuff, and I think that's really, really amazing. And the community is really good. They're always trying to beat high scores. There's global high scores, there's scores with your friends. There's also a campaign that you can go through. I played a bit of the campaign. It just gives you a load of challenges of like I can't really remember, but there's so many challenges, and it really tests your ability in Beat Saber than just hitting them. There's campaign. They do a party, which is kind of like multiplayer, I believe, and there's a fly. Yeah, so I just wanted to go over the price real quick, if I can find it. So the price of Beat Saber currently is, I don't know. Hang on.
On Steam, it's $23.79.
23. Okay, yeah. I say that's very worth it. It's overwhelmingly positive on Steam. So if that doesn't tell you that it's a good game, I don't know what will. But yeah, apparently it's an indie game. I didn't know that. Okay. But yeah, it's a really cool VR experience. You can play it just quickly on the Valve Index, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality. And that's the headset I got. Mine is probably like the lowest out of all those, like the lowest budget VR headset out of those. But even though mine is like low budget, it still works really well with it. So it's a really enjoyable, fun game. I currently got 91 hours into it. I stopped playing like a couple of years ago because I hurt my shoulder. I seem to do that a lot. But I got back into it recently and I'm really loving it. And I thought I'd share it because it's just a brilliant, fun, enjoyable game. I think if you have a VR headset, you should buy. If you don't have a VR headset, if you want to get a VR headset, I would recommend getting Beat Saber when you do get that headset. So, it's a fun game. They do updates all the time. They recently done it up. They did. That was last year. Okay. Well, they do a lot of things, and songs are coming out constantly every day from the community with Crufton songs, and I think you should get it really. And I think it's worth the money and your time to really just have some fun, beat some blocks, and Beat Saber is a fantastic game.
Nice.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
I think I've put everyone to sleep. I'm so sorry.
No. I do want to get VR. I mean, this wasn't the first thing I thought of. I actually thought about phasmophobia, but to be honest, I don't have the space. But if I did have the space, I think this. I mean, how many times have you punched something because of this game, and like come away with a broken hand or
not a broken hand or anything, but I have
smashed your computer to pieces because you just
last night I was playing it. Last night I was playing it, and my desk, like the end of my desk, is there, and I was playing it, and I don't know where I was, and I hit it, and my controller came out. I was like, oh my god, and I had to like try and get back while I was like still hitting the blocks, and that's happened many a times. But when it happens, you kind of panic, but then you can get back into the groove of it. And VR is dangerous, but it's also very fun. So just be cautious of that.
That is my concern.
Yeah, just be cautious and make sure you have a big space. Unlike my space isn't that big, but still. You can also do it seated, like you could sit down and play Beat Saber. To be honest,
does that actually have the same? I can't see that having the same impact though. I would imagine you still have to be stood up. Like I could see playing something like Phasmo, you could sit down because you're just moving forward and you're turning around. You're still going to get jumps. With this, I feel like you said, it's more of a workout. So therefore,
I mean, if you want, like, there's like you can sit down and play it. But like it's got that ability to do that.
So
but like you say, I don't know what the experience would be like if you was to sit down because I've never tried that. So I don't think it would be the same.
Are you planning to do this stream? Are you planning to stream this anytime soon?
Yes, probably.
Will you be on camera?
No.
Oh, well then I'm not going to watch. I want to see you play. That's no fun.
No.
I'll come by one of your streams. The next time you're playing it, I'll come by one of your streams.
I look like a maniac. As long
as my work allows me to do so, but yeah.
I love the game, but if you're watching from the outside, you look like a complete fool.
That's why I wanted to you to be on the camera.
It's funny. That's why it's funny.
That's what makes the experience.
Yeah.
I was joking about on my stream. I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were saying that we're talking about how I'd have to mute my VODs when they watch it through. Yeah. And they were saying, imagine someone joining and they just see you doing this with no music or anything, and it's just you hitting some blocks. Like
without music, I can't imagine it being that much fun.
No,
because there's a few of these sort of games where they introduce music, actual sort of like licensed music.
Pistol Whip. They try to the thing is, most games are trying to copy Beat Saber, and I don't think that's the way to go, because Beat Saber's done. It's their own unique idea, and they've executed it really well. But people are trying to copy that just to try and see if they can get that same kind of success. But like Pistol Whip, for example, that's quite a unique game. It's you shoot to the beat, you're moving, you're shooting, you're dodging. Like, that's a pretty good game too, but I've never played it. But I've seen gameplay and stuff, and that also implements the music and almost like John Wick in a way. Matrix and John Wick with music. But yeah, Beat Saber is a must play if you have a VR headset. And
Yeah, just to jump in, I have played Beat Saber sitting down.
You have.
Okay. How was
I
that?
It's fine.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I only play on easy though. I'm not like anything above that, and my body just goes, no.
Yeah.
My kids are actually super duper good at it. Harvey's he plays it on expert, and it's
Okay.
quite funny. Like you say, watching him flail around the room, and when
Yeah,
you're trying to get past to
yeah,
get
to hit
to
him.
get
Yeah.
clocked in the face like he did to me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He knocked me out. Hit me straight in the face with the
Yeah.
controller that plays on the PlayStation 4
Okay.
VR
Yeah.
headset. Probably
Yeah.
don't have it set up anymore because I ain't got the room. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun game. It's really makes you feel like a Jedi.
Yeah.
I do the sound effects and I vroom, vroom.
Yeah,
When
So
did
I
I
would
just
as
sound
well, I
effects?
think.
join the dark side, you blocks have. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a bit of fun. It's
Yeah.
exceptionally good for your mobility and you know, work out you get rid of your chicken arms in no time. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's definitely one to have in your collection if you have a VR headset. 100%.
Yes. 100%.
How would you compare this to, say, something like Just Dance? Or if you know about
Yeah, just
without because Just Dance is basically the similar sort of like movements,
I
but
suppose
without the VR element, right?
I suppose with Just Dance, it doesn't have as much immersion as you would
Yeah.
playing with a
Like, 'cause
VR
it's a
headset.
VR. Yeah.
Like, just playing with VR, hitting the blocks, it feels so cool. You feel epic. And not to say Just Dance isn't cool. I'm sure you can get a lot of workout with that, and you can dance around. The only thing with me is I prefer to play Beat Saber because I don't have to necessarily move around a lot. I'm moving my arms, and that can help me if I want to lose weight or whatever I'm doing. With Just Dance, you have to. I don't know. That's a good question. I prefer Beat Saber because it's more immersive and more fun.
Okay.
I would say.
No, I just thought it
Personally.
was interesting, like to include some of these games that are outside of their sort of comfort zone, if you like. You know, not just sitting at the computer, but or a screen.
To be honest, with Just Dance, people can just wave their controller around, and it'll be like perfect. Keep going. You're doing perfect, and you're just waving it around in front of you.
I don't think you get enough of these type of like rhythm games. You know.
No, I don't think so. And I think Beat Saber really,
That's why I wanted to include
stood out
just now.
They're usually on the mobile now. All these rhythm games, so they're doing all the button pressing.
Yeah.
So most of them are.
Which I don't. I think Beat Saber is just really
It's a unique experience.
It is very unique.
Yeah.
And I think, I could talk about all day, but I shouldn't.
No, it's good to bring something different to the table, isn't it? It's like Beat Saber's like VR, and not everyone has VR, but if those people who do have it, you're saying definitely it's worth adding to your wish list.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Excellent. No, it's good. It's good to hear something different for a change, I guess.
Thank you.
I think we should. Thank you very much, Beth, for that insight into the VR world of a Beat Saber. I think we should move on then. I think we should go into our next segment. So we should do the 25th or 25 years. I think we should do that one next.
Years.
Let's look at so today is the 25th episode of the Bits and Pieces podcast since we started. Actually, 27 weeks ago we started, but we took 2 weeks off because of Christmas and New Year. So technically it's 27 weeks, but we've been doing it. This is our 25th episode. I thought it'd be an idea to look back at some of the old games that we won't be around as much, or won't be as people might not be aware of them. So yeah, I thought about let's look at something. So something that came out in 1997, as that is 25 years ago. So yeah, I thought that was a nice sort of segue in for 25th episode, 25 years ago.
Right.
So I can't wait for the 50th. What games were out 50 years ago?
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Yeah, board games. Yeah, parlor games.
Solitaire. Tiddlywinks.
we could talk about that.
Skip and jump.
Yeah. Right. So do you want to take this one first, Freddie?
Yeah.
You've got to talk about the original version of Resident. Sorry, my mistake. Of Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII. Yes. This game has a very special place in my heart because this was the first RPG, Japanese RPG that I ever got into. I ever played. I was a RPG noob when I played this game back in my 14. When I was 14.
Wow.
25 years ago. Hey. And this game was literally set me. This is my first game I ever put thousands of hours in. There's a bit of a personal story to this one. After my car accident when I was 10, I really couldn't really do a lot. I've always never been able to do a lot of physical stuff, but it took a long time to recuperate my leg strength because of the poor condition my legs and that were in, and then I didn't have enough physio. It's a very long story, but basically, when this came out, I was kind of like couldn't do much. So I spent a lot of time indoors, like I do now, unfortunately. But I bought this game on the basis of a demo disc. Remember those? The demo discs we used to get at the PlayStation magazine. So I got the PS1. I had a few PlayStation games. And I got the PS1 magazine. I had this demo. I had a demo of this on it. And I loved it so much, I managed to convince my dad to get it for me. 60 quid back then. Back in the day, 60 quid. Still, you think games are cheap. Games are cheap now. Games have always been expensive. So I don't know how I managed to get it, but I got it and I started playing it. And this game is, if you probably anyone who's anybody would have heard of the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy series has been going since 1989, 88 or 89 on the Super Nintendo and the old Nintendos, and pretty much the Japanese game started on those consoles, and then it made the transition over to the PlayStation series, and this is when it really picked up for Square Enix. This is why Square Enix is the company it is today. This is why Square Enix has bazillions in the bank account because they've always had the Final Fantasy series, but 1 to 6 was middling, was okay. I think number 1 did the best. Number 6 did okay. Number 7 was a make or break for them. So they put everything they had into the PlayStation engine, and they come up with a 3D version of Final Fantasy. And this game is one of the best RPG games ever made of all time for me. The story is amazing. There is absolute so much reading, so much reading. And if you happen to have played the remake, you will know that they can't even fit this entire game into one game. They've got to break it up into multiple parts because this game had 4 discs when it was a massive game back then. So like the first part, the Midgard part, which is part of the remake, that's they expanded upon in like 50 hours plus. The Midgard part in this game is only a couple of hours. It's only about 5 hours, 6 hours of the game. That's how big the game is, right? And then it starts off quite a linear game. You go into this, you're this mercenary called Cloud. He's a merchant for hire, and he comes into this squad, the Avalanche group, because of his connections with his long-term um, childhood friend Tifa, who recommends him for this job because it's his first gig as a mercenary. So he's quite cold. He's quite selfish. He's only in it for the money, and then you take control of him. And there's some minor decision making in this game. It's the story is pretty much laid out for you. It's a very much like linear path story, but it's so massive that the whole game, even if you speed run this game, it minimum is like 19 hours without doing the side quests and finding all the stuff. And this is the Elden Ring of its time. That's pretty much the best way I can describe it. This game took everybody by storm, and it's a turn-based game. There's turn-based combat. You've got a limit system. You've got I can't remember what it's called. There's a time battle system where you have to wait your turn, and your characters, you pick an action for your character, whether it's attack, defend, cast spell, use a limit break, and is pretty much like the run. Quite a simple to pick up, hard to master sort of thing. And you level up your characters, and the maximum level is 99, which I got to. And you level up your weapons, your materials, stuff called materia, which is basically magic. You put in your equipment slots, and you have different equipment that has different slots that enables you to strengthen up your characters. And you have accessories that give you various benefits, pretty much like Elden Ring sort of styles, similar sort of comparison. Is that you'll pick up a relic that will give you say attack boost or magic negation or damage reduction. Same sort of thing in Final Fantasy VII. You'll pick up a ribbon which will give you immunity to all status effects. You'll pick up an ice bangle, gives you resistance to ice, fire bangle, lightning bangle, etc., etc. You get the general gist. General RPG beats now we're all familiar with, but we're very like sort of not well known as known back then. And unless you played like the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, or you played the Icewind Dale games, you wouldn't be familiar with such like stuff in gaming. So this is what launched it all into the mainstream, like RPGs. And Cloud is an arse for the most of the game, but the story is. I don't want to give. You probably already know the story, and so I want to give you a little spoiler warning here. If you haven't played it, but you've played the remake, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've never played the remake or the original, you can usually the original is on sale most places, or you can pick it up for a $5 or a tenner. It's not expensive. I think Keck sells it for like £15. But usually Steam, I think Steam is 15, 20 quid, I think, for the original. But play the original first before you play the remake. The original is the go-to, and there is if you really are like, oh, but I don't like the graphics. If you're playing on PC, you can actually mod the entire thing to look infinitely better. There's a whole mod conversion pack that updates the graphics to like modern day. So like you got like, instead of having, because the characters are little chibi characters on the map, and it's all 2D, 3D backgrounds. So the whole thing is all like picturesque backgrounds, and you got your little 3D character which runs along them, and you go up ladders, and it's just when the battle starts, when you initiate a battle, the screen spins round, and you get random encounters. So the whole thing's random encounters, and then you'll have set bosses at certain story elements in the game. So I'm going around in circles here, but it's just there's so much to cram in. The opening scene is that you're avoiding a Mako factory, which is run by the big bad corporation, Blizzard. Shinra, who are the evil ones. They are the evil ones, and they are sucking the life out of gaming. The planet, and you've got to you've got to save the planet, so to speak. That's what the Avalanche, what the radicals are. But it doesn't go to plan. It all goes tits up. The group gets framed, and then you have to spend the next bit, that chase sequence, on the run, escaping and fighting your way out of the main city. And eventually, you meet the main characters. So the main group of characters is Barrett, who's a massive black dude. Really like, what you looking at? You really like Mr. T sort of style. But he does become a bit more humble as the game goes on. And if you played the remake, you'll know an amazing character. The guy I'm going off track because it's too much to talk about. He's amazing, right? And then you've got Cloud, who's also really he becomes he's a narcissistic twat at the start, but you soon love him by the end of the game. And there's a reason for that as well. I'm not going to go into too much spoiler territory. Just either watch the movies, play the games, read the comics. There's so much content on this The Final Fantasy VII has been carrying Square Enix since its inception. So there's so much content. You can just Google it and you watch the movie as well. The movie is so good. And then you've got Aerith, who you meet a bit later on as the flower girl, who's one of Cloud's love interests. And you've got Tifa, who's his childhood friend, love interest, which puts Lara Croft to shame. That's all I'm going to say about Tifa. And then you've got with the older, and then you've got right, and then you've got the character's known for it. I'm just making fun of it. She's got. If you don't know what I'm talking about, she's got the package up front, right? That's all I'm going to say. She's got the package up front, and then she's got and you've got which is it's an anime thing. Anime girl design. There you go. There's a nicer way of saying it. Put my foot in it all the time, don't I? Right, and it's and then you've got Yuffie, who is an absolute twat in this game, but she's awesome in the remake. But she's an annoying little shit in this game. And then you've got Vincent, who's one of the best characters ever. I think I'm forgetting someone. Sid is great. And then you've got Red as well, who's also really good. So and then you've got Catsif. Don't like Catsif. Right, he's another shit. But these characters are going to be heavily developed upon in the remake, which is good news. So they're not very great characters. The best characters are Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, Red. In my opinion, that's who I fell in love with. And especially Tifa, because I was a 14-year-old kid. So that's all I need to say. Right. So the gameplay wise, you explore various areas. You do lots of story beats. The save point system is not a traditional save mechanic where you just pause it and save it. You have to find saving stations, which can be really annoying if you die in between a saving station. Like you run into a boss you weren't expecting, or you run into an open world boss you didn't know was coming, and then you get your ass handed to you because you're massively underleveled. There are certain fighters in this game you have to be leveled up for, and if you try and take them on without the right level, you'll be stuck. So you do have to do a fair amount of grinding in this game to progress. And grinding also initiates benefits of you get money, you get potions, you get weapon upgrades, you get magic, and basically when you get out of the city, it goes into an open world game. So then it becomes a massive open world. You run around this great big massive map, and then you find all the other story elements and the story towns, and the story sort of goes across. You get into a ship, you go across the world, you go underwater in a submarine, you go flying up in an airplane. You have like a hot balloon thing at some point in time. There's a theme park you can go in and have loads of fun in. There's so many mini games. There's so many things to do in this world. There's even an RTS mini game where you control an army and have to defend a mountaintop from being invaded, which is actually a very good story point, and is actually an actual battle, but you're just controlling it from a video game sort of point of view. And it's so much stuff to cram in. I 100%ed the game, but by the time I 100%ed it, my total hours in the game was about 277 hours. My final save, and that was maxing out everything, finding everything, getting all the summon materia, which are summons that are really powerful that they save your ass in the game. Getting all the weapons, finding all the characters' weapons, getting all the limit breaks. Yeah, there's so much to do. And it's just a game that's just, if you love RTSs, RPGs, sorry, and you love anime designed characters, and you like a really good in-depth story with plenty of twists and turns, then Final Fantasy VII is a must-own game. And the reason it's been around for 25 years is because it is one of the best games Sega NX has ever produced, which is why you remember the PlayStation 3 demo when they demonstrated the Final Fantasy VII intro? Do you remember that when they did the E3 and they showcased the PlayStation 3 graphics? and they remade the intro for Final Fantasy VII, where the camera swoops in and you see Cloud on the train and he jumps off the train and pulls his sword off. It's absolutely epic. That's when everyone went, we want a remake of Final Fantasy VII. Give now.
We want it.
We want it now, and it's taken them 15 years to make the remake.
I mean, at least they, got it.
Yeah. So honestly, and I just will touch on very quickly, the remake is amazing. As a hardcore Final Fantasy VII fan, I'm very, very happy with what they did in the remake. They kept all the things in that they should have done. They didn't change any of it. They built upon what was there. They freshed out the characters, and even the DLC, which I wasn't going to buy, got included with the PS, because I bought the PS4 version and got the free upgrade. So I got the free upgrade to the PS5 version, and I got Interglad included, which is usually a £20
Nice.
extra cost. So I got
Nice.
the DLC, which features Yuffie, when they flesh out Luffy, which I didn't think was possible because I hated that character so much. Like, I refused to put her in my party. I refused to have anything to do with her. I used to get killed in every group every time we had this forced party selection, I would make sure she died immediately.
Oh wow!
So
you
I
had some hate.
I know there's if you play the game, you'll know why. Because I'm not going to give it away because it will spoil the remakes. Whoever's listening to what plays the remake, but there is a reason why she's like the way she is, and you do find out, and you do eventually sympathise with her, and you do eventually. Everyone gets a massive character arc growth. Everyone gets massively fleshed out in the throughout the game. It's just they're doing it a lot. It's a lot better in the remake. They're doing it in a lot better way. But once I found out the reason, I didn't quite hate her as much. But for most of the game, I was like, you didn't want her, didn't want anything to do with her. So the remake is handling it so well, and I actually now like Yuffie because I now understand what she went through before she meets the group. So it's kind of like there's so much backstory. There's this gives me hindsight. There's a video game called Final Fantasy Core Crisis, which you can now play on emulators. I think you can get it on the Switch. I'm not 100% sure, but it wasn't the PlayStation Portable. But they got rid of it. They got rid of the PSP, and this was a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. So this indicates one of the main characters that you find out about in Final Fantasy VII. So if you want to start the story from the very, 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 very beginning, then you play Final Fantasy VII Core Crisis, and then you play Final Fantasy VII, and that'll give you the whole story, which is roughly about 150 hours worth of content.
Okay.
So you get value for money in this game. And it's a testament to RPGs. We wouldn't have half the RPGs we have today if it wasn't for Final Fantasy VII's success. I'm absolutely certain of that. But yeah, it's I'm glad it's still here. I'm glad we got a remake. I'm glad Part 2 is coming out next year for the remake, and I absolutely can't wait to see where they're going to go with the story and how they're going to implement the open world aspect of the game and the remake. And it's good, and if it is as good as it has been, it's going to be one of the best games I've ever made on on any console, never mind the PS5 exclusive. So I'm high. I've got my hopes high. So Square Enix, don't let me down with the Part 2 of the remake. Honestly, you started off so well. The game deserves so much care and attention, and it's one of the shining lights of the RPG world. And it's probably the only thing you haven't messed up out of your entire company so recently. So I really hope they don't go down the whole microtransactions route and ruin it with all that nonsense. And they've told us they're not going to, but since when can you
Hopefully they
trust?
keep.
Yeah, when can you trust corporations? What they say? Oh, honestly, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. But when you're not looking, you know?
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's me on the 25th anniversary. The must have game, Final Fantasy VII.
Nice. Okay.
Nice. Oh, I don't think I can top that. I'll give it a go. I'll try. So yeah, like we said, it's the our 25th episode. So we're going to go back 25 years to 1997. So the game that I've picked out that came out 25 years ago, it's probably the only decent Bond game to come out. So if you haven't guessed already, it is, of course, the Man with a Golden Gun. No, I'm joking. It's GoldenEye. I don't think they did the Man with a Golden Gun, but it would have been crap anyway. Most Bond games that came out after this never really lived up to the hype that was GoldenEye. I think GoldenEye was the only real, like I said, it's the only real Bond game to come from a licensed or anything. And most licensed games never really do well. So I just really glad that they sort of did this. And this, I don't think they actually did a remake of this, and I think a lot of people cried out for it. But yeah, it's just, this is obviously, so it's a first-person shooter developed by Rare. It's published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. So if anyone who owned that at the time, you must have owned this game. I mean, I'd be surprised if you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, obviously it's almost beat for beat for the film, but it does obviously comes from the same film from the film of the same name, GoldenEye.
England, James.
It has a single player campaign, which you play as obviously the secret intelligence service agent Bond. James Bond. But everyone does it. Why does everyone do a Sean Connery, even though it's Pierce Brosnan?
James Bond.
James
Bond.
I can't do
Yeah, no one can.
Never gonna try.
Bond. James Bond.
No,
I don't know.
James
Anyway,
Bond.
no one can really. No one can really top that. Yeah, can they? Really? So yeah, you've got several levels that you've got to go through in the game. There's obviously. There was a split screen deathmatch thing that you could do a multiplayer of. I think it was up to 4 people. Yeah, it must have been 4 people because it was obviously local multiplayer. So I think it's I could try and remember where I was there. I sort of throw myself off then. Yeah, so obviously gameplay. So it's a first-person shooter where you take control of obviously James Bond. You go through a series of levels, and each level the player must complete a set of objectives, while a computer-controlled opponent, these NPCs that are in there, try and hinder the player's progress. So yeah, you go through. Obviously, it's almost beat for beat where you go to in this game. So yeah, the basically. You've got to stop the mad scientist or whatever he was. I don't know. I can't remember what he was now. Chemical weapons facility at the Bailamora Dam. I don't remember the dam thing at the start. If anyone remembers the game, remembers the film, like you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So you've got to follow James Bond and fellow double agent Alex Trevelyan. Who are, I think it was Sean Bean who played him, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Who are sent to infiltrate the facility and obviously plant charges. During the mission, you got Trevelyan. He then shot General, what's his name? Arcady. Is that how you pronounce his name? Ulmoroviv. I don't know. What's he? Russian. I'm trying to get a Russian name. I'm trying to do a Russian sort of like spelling of it. But yeah. So obviously Bond escapes on an airplane, and it's 5 years later. Then it's down the line a little bit. You go back to Slovenia, Russia, where you meet Boris. You remember Boris? Not Boris. Yeah. Not
very nice.
No. Boris. Yeah. Everyone remembers that. But yeah, basically you've got to try and stop the launch of the satellite known as GoldenEye. So that's obviously where it gets its name from. So it sort of ties into the movie pretty much. The space weapon thing that they were going to fire upon somewhere on Earth. Yeah. Then you got to try and use like waves to stop it. You follow like you go to Soviet Union, you go to Monte Carlo. I think where did you go to after that? I can't remember where you went to after that, but you go around the world as Bond. You go to different areas, around the world, facing ex-KGB agent Valentin Zulowski, to meet the chief of Janus organization. It's one of those like Bond. It's a Bond game. You've got so many different types of weapons in it. I'm sort of getting lost. Sort of got kind of a little bit off track here, but
And gadgets.
The game features more than 20 weapons. I think you had pistols, submachine guns, you had assault rifles, sniper rifles, grenades. It mentions, I think, throwing knives as well. I don't remember Bond actually having that in the game, but maybe he threw a pen or something, and they was inspired by that. I can't remember.
They did make a remake of it, didn't they? And re-released it's Goldeneye Reloaded.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that they did, but now you mentioned it.
Yeah, I've got a trailer of it, so I'm watching it.
You're watching
There's
the
all new
trailer.
cutscenes and stuff. Yeah, stuff they added loads of stuff to it, so build upon the game. Yeah, but that's why they did have 20 weapons. You're right. Yeah, but I think the Reloaded one's got a few more. More surprises.
So but like obviously I was talking about like the original
Yeah,
release.
sorry.
No, it's fine. The remake's worth mentioning because people might not be. I wasn't aware of it, to be honest. That's why I didn't mention it at the start.
It's hard to get hold of the retro stuff these days.
So the retro stuff, like you said, they did a remake, but I'd love to see this like come out elsewhere as well. You know, it'd be good to see that other version come out somewhere. There has to be somewhere. So it's got 20 odd weapons. Emulators. That's all it is nowadays. It's emulators now. The only way you're going to play these games. Each weapon has its own characteristics, ammunition, and interchangeable between some weapon types. Like the pistol and machine gun share the same ammunition. So that was okay. You could pick up ammunition on the way. There was no way there was no health recovery items, but body armor was a thing.
Yeah,
you had to acquire that, provided a secondary health bar. You had like a secondary health bar, and that would go over the top of it. And I don't know if stamina was a thing. I can't remember. That might have been. I'm just from memory, but I don't remember that. I don't think there was or not. But yeah, like I said, it's still the laser, of course, on the gadgets.
The laser watch.
The laser watch.
Yeah,
where you had to try and defuse the bomb on the train.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun.
I kept trying to kill people with it.
Yeah. It was, and it still is. I would say, I would argue the case that it probably still is fun. Just like you've got to look past the graphics, would be slightly dated now, but by today's standards. But there's some retro games out there now with 8-bit that you happily enjoy playing.
That's true.
It's all about the gameplay more than the graphics
like
these days.
Core Keeper,
for instance.
Stardew Valley.
Those sort of 8-bit, the type games, the graphics and that, they're actually being made now. They're not.
They're like in fashion now.
They're in fashion. So looking at this game, whether it was a 8-bit or 16-bit or 12, whatever.
That's a 64-bit.
64-bit because it's a 64 console, obviously. But as a reference to those other games that are out there, they're still good to play because it's all about the gameplay. It's all about the enjoyment, and there's no microtransactions. There's no live server. There's no. Didn't get DLC, but you didn't
get
get
original gameplay now. Yeah,
you didn't get that. The crap that comes along with modern AAA games.
When games were games.
You picked up a game, you had to complete it because you couldn't save anything. That was like, I think some of the earlier stuff you couldn't save for some things. I mean, gameplay, it's just really good. Like there is like I said, there's a multiplayer the Goldeneye feature on this, with up to 4 players, and it's several deathmatch scenarios via
team deathmatch
split screen. They included You Only Live Twice, The Living Daylights, The Man with a Golden Gun. I was joking about it, but there is actually a gameplay, and License to Kill. So you had normal standard mode where players score points by killing the opponents. Players can be grouped in teams or compete individually. You Only Live Twice gives players, for instance, like 2 lives before they eliminated from the game. You had different things. In License to Kill, players die from a single hit with any weapon. You had different guns. Yeah, the guns. The Clob could be dual wield for additional firepower. Stealth was obviously encouraged in this game as well. I know it was encouraged, but did you do it? Did you do it? Did you heck?
No.
You was straight up shooting.
Every time I tried to stealth, just failed miserably. So I was like, got it.
What is stealth? I don't know
Stealth?
what that word is.
What do you mean stealth? I don't understand stealth. We just
Yes,
throw grenades in and hope for the best.
I'm Leroy Jenkins at stealth.
Yeah, exactly right. Go in, guns blazing.
So I suck at stealth games.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just playing this throughout. It was just one of those fun nostalgia. Going back over this now. It's great games. Great games. Great fun. I don't think you'd ever really rage quit a game like this. It wasn't too difficult. I don't think it was, but and there might have been certain points where you.
There was certain points.
Where you would, which is what I was just about to say. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was like there were certain points where you just like, I ran out of bullets.
Yeah, that was the worst. When you
running out of bullets when you've got some dude with a big shotgun or machine gun. In certain areas. I do remember that trying to play another Bond game, and it had sort of similar things to it, but it was just awful. It was just bad. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was part of the Pierce Brosnan era, because I think, thinking about it, like Goldeneye was one of the first films to come out after 6 years of absence. I think it was Roger Moore who left, and then this came out, so that when this came out, it was like, I'm really into Bond at the time, and great, we've got a game that goes along with the film, and then later on they do another game that goes along with one of the other films, and it was crap. It was just awful. So I think this is the only Bond game to actually do really well, at least in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, the only good Bond game I remember playing after Goldeneye was on the PlayStation 2. And it was James Bond, Everything or Nothing, and it was fully voiced and modelled after all the actors. And had Pierce Brosnan in it. And I'm trying to get the list up of who was in it.
I think Sean Connery came back, and he came out of retirement to voice act one more Bond game. And
he did. Yeah, it was. He
had actually given up. He had actually retired. But
I forgot about that.
I think it was his grandson who
From Russia with Love.
Yes, From Russia with Love.
Yeah, that's an amazing Bond game. Yeah.
And he came back and he did that, and it was that inspired him. It was like, yeah, that's it. But he ultimately had actually retired by that point.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, there you go.
That's pretty awesome, though.
So it wasn't so much the money. It was just. I've got a grandchild. Thank you. My attempt now as Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
I actually remember the vehicle chase sequences in Everything or Nothing, and I actually really enjoyed that game. That was one of the better PlayStation 2 Bond games, and then Russian with Love was the best one out of it.
Yeah.
But that was the best. That was actually the best version of Pierce Brosnan's Bond. And it was in the game. And it was the best one by miles. And I actually remember saying because the reason I got it is because my dad was a massive Bond fan. So he had all the collection, all the DVDs, all the VHSs of all the Bond stuff. And every time the Bond game came out, he would just buy it for me. Like, I didn't even ask me, like, you're playing that. I'm like, okay. And he'd sit with me and we'd play it together, and then I'd laugh at him getting killed, and I'll take over and win.
Yeah.
And one thing that I will say about GoldenEye is the aiming system was the first time you could shoot an NPC in the throat. They'd hold their throat and they go and die.
That's
like
what,
on a
like,
console.
as far as like first-person shooters were concerned, like not many first-person shooters came out that were really good, and this was one of the first ones to do really good FPS.
Physics, and that. And especially you shoot their knee, they shoot them both in both their knees, and they hold their knees and go and they keel over to the floor. You know, and then you can shoot the weapon out their hand, and you go up to them and punch them. There's so much stuff you could go through the whole game without killing anybody. You just knock them out, apart from the ones in the tanks and stuff where you have to shoot them. Like the one thing I used to do, I used to have the tiniest little amount of sleeve showing around the corner. They would be standing there, and you just shoot that little bit of little cloth, and then fall over, and you got shoot again. It's how you got them out of of camping. And the multiplayer was so much fun. So I used to play this with my brothers and my old man. So we used to do 4-player and Odd Job. You remember?
Odd Job.
So you couldn't shoot him. He's so fucking short. You go around the corner and you do like the average height, shooting the head, and he'd just be like pew pew right in the nuts, and you're dead. So it's like come on, and that was before you couldn't patch it, they couldn't change it. It was Odd Job was just everyone just picked the first person to pick Odd Job wins. You know, that's how it used to work.
Yeah.
You know, and it was so much. Yeah, but Odd Job was 100% a cheat code. And we're not being Odd Jobs. Let's pick someone else.
This goes back to that time where you had to be in the same room to play multiplayer. You had to be on the same console, and it was on that console.
Imagine that.
Now here all four. Here we go. All three of us here. Play multiplayer, but we've never actually met in person. So it's like,
that's crazy to think about.
It's just, and this is, here we are 25 years on, and this is the technology we're at now. We're now doing, we're talking from our own respective rooms, but yeah, I thought it was an idea to come back to look at a particular game. There was a long list we could have chose from. The GoldenEye,
loads of stuff.
I could actually pick quite a few games that came out in '97, and Star Wars Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, Blast Corps, Fallout. The first Fallout game came out in 1997. I probably ain't got time to go into it too much, but like if you go back to The Curse of Monkey Island came out in 1997. Diddy Kong Racing, Star Fox 64, Total Annihilation. There's loads. There's loads of there's loads because gaming has been around for years. Obviously Papa the Rapper, if anyone remembers that, which came out.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got 1 and 2 still on the PlayStation.
Yeah. So that Myth.
Sorry,
The Fallen Lords, Connolly Wars. I've got like I said, I've got a list.
Is it wrong that I've played nearly all of those?
Talk, Dinosaur Hunter, Age of Empires, Ace Combat 2, Mario Kart 64. Obviously 64 because that was the big year. Duke Nukem even. Duke Nukem. 64. If anyone, Broken Sword, The Smoking Mirror. I actually like these.
I've got it. I've got all of them still. I've got the collection on the PC. Sorry, I've got them all.
Yeah.
Bloody hard games, man.
They were actually hard. Point
still are.
Point and clicky ones. Yeah. They, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey.
Came
out. There's so many games, so many good games. I think this is the top 20. No, it's top 28. I don't know why this 20. Why 28? Why not? Why stop at 28 on this list? So if anyone's interested, the list I've just got up was from Metacritic, and it's the top 28. Postal in the 28th one. Why stop there? Why not do 30? Was there not 30 games in 1997? There must have been.
There must have been. Maybe. I don't
know. They score, obviously, the highest game, number 1, is GoldenEye, which is what we're talking about. Final Fantasy VII was 4th on that list. just to sort of, bringing things into...
Right, that list is wrong.
Of course, the list is wrong.
It's different game. They're different games. You can't put them in the same category. They're completely different games.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
was the second game,
which has always had a remake.
Yeah.
How many games in this list has had remakes? That would be an interesting thing to look at.
Meyer's Gettysburg. I mean, I don't think I've ever played any of those games, but like that's like third. And this.
I don't think I've played that one.
Blast Corps. Yeah, no, it's just look. I just sort of thought it would be a good 25th episode to pick up something from 25 years ago. And like I said, in the next milestone we can look back at other things or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how things have changed and how different the gaming industry has changed over the last 25 years. Sure, it has changed in the last 5 years, to be fair.
Yeah, so much.
Quite a lot. Not just not
good and bad.
Good and bad, yeah. Unfortunately,
mostly bad.
Mostly
bad.
But
yeah. But gaming brought us together.
But there you go.
It did, yeah. It brought us together. That's a good thing.
Yeah. It has. Yeah. It has indeed. And, yeah. So I'm pretty much done with that. I don't know if anything.
I don't know any. I've never played any of those games, so I can't really say. Talk about them. All I can say is I've heard of Goldeneye 007, and I've heard that it's a really good game. And kind of looking at that gameplay just now, it makes me want to play it. And but
you can download an emulator. I know there's some safe places to download the ROMs and that. I'll link you, and you can download it and play it. Most of the emulators run perfectly fine on PC. So you just need to configure it to a joypad, and you just need to resync the buttons to a joypad layout like an Xbox or PlayStation layout, and you will have the N64 controller map, and you just map the buttons to the current controller you have. It's quite easy, it's straightforward. And you get the controller experience. Trying to do it with a mouse and keyboard, no.
Yeah, it's not designed for a mouse and keyboard.
No, it doesn't work very well. There's tons of classic, and it does have network play, so you can play local network, so we could connect to each other via our IPs and play that way.
Interesting.
Through the emulator, so we could technically stream an authentic GoldenEye experience versus each other, which would probably be really fun. Probably be fun to do.
Win at some point.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure, because there's a little program I used to use back in the day to generate fake IPs, and used to put you all into groups for games that didn't have had LAN. So it would create a fake LAN network. Then you sign into the fake LAN network, and then you'd all join up and play. So it's like got around like the whole not online sort of thing. So if it has something, I'll have to look into it. But if it has something similar, I'll definitely sort it out. So we can play that. We can play together some of the old classics. I think that would be a very fun thing to do.
Yeah, do you know that would actually be like someone who's never played it, me, and someone who has played it, you, and experiencing it for the first time. I think that'd be really fun to do, actually.
Yeah.
Write that down.
I will. I'll make a note of it. I'll make a note of it. I will put it on my reminder list. Do this now.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to doing that. 100%. There's definitely a way of doing it. I've seen other people do it, so 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So are we going to squeeze in some news?
We're coming up to that 2-hour mark now. So
yeah, I know already. Yeah, I know. It's flown. It's
flown by this week. It's flown by. Well, I can read this one quickly. I won't take too long to read through this one. Yeah. Speaking of Final Fantasy XIV's new patch has been out for a week now, bringing tons of new additional to the critically acclaimed MMORPG. One of those is an adventure plate a mini profile card you can jazz up with various background frames and the chance to take a cool picture of your character for all to see. So far, the feature has been an absolute hit with players. It has been a great way to add some creative flair and personality to checking out my party cards has become routine whenever I join a raid or a dungeon. Of course, it's also been the perfect opportunity for the player to push the limitations of character portraits and the results of unaspiring horny as hell. Despite the game's best efforts to Delta lewd adventure plates, determined players have managed to get it around it, while portraits are supposed to be only allowed if the character's face is fully displayed. The detection is pretty inconsistent right now and easily exploitable. It's led to a mountain of butt photos, but there's also been liberal use of compromising angles to make it look like the characters are performing various sexual acts. Even the calling cards decorations themselves are being used to create the illusion of characters being naked. While the horny profiles felt almost inevitable, there have been some more family-friendly creations too. There have been some clever reactions to classic memes, from Megamind to the confusing cat at the dinner. There's also been a few homages to characters from other Final Fantasy games and video games in the general. My favourite by far is probably a fantastic Yakuza-themed one. A character aptly named Guru Manjai-san. The Adventures plate features is still technically in beta, so it's likely that some extra restrictions will come into force when everything is fully implemented.
That'd be a store sport.
As nice as a cat girl, but maybe it's not exactly something everyone wants to be subjected to, as they're trying to get about their time in game.
That's your opinion.
There you go.
What's wrong with cat girl butts? Come on, you've got an ist. We've got a cat girl buttist here.
To be honest,
doesn't like cat girl butts. How dare you?
I'm not surprised that this happened. To be honest,
it's bound to happen at some point.
And it is.
It's a bit of fun. Let him have a bit of fun. Jesus, he's not hurting anybody. It ain't full blown nudity. He really shut off with your bloody censorship. It's a bit of fun. Jesus Christ.
Long as no
as long as they're like
details.
As long as they're not, it's all full, cucumber and oranges, and melons all, hanging about. I don't see the problem. I just why is it the first thing they do is outrage? Oh my goodness, no, oh my goodness, there's too the game is so sexualized. I'm amazed it ain't classed as soft porn. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't moan about sexualization of these characters in a game that pretty much is. The entire female cast is sexualized beyond. It's a Japanese game for a start, so all Japanese games are all sexualized. They're all sexualized, and no one gives a shit. The ladies are supposed to be pretty, sexy, voluptuous. The blokes are all fucking six packs, rocking bloody muscles from Brussels. Crack nuts on their bloody armpits. No one moans about that. As soon as a lady comes along with just a skimpy outfit, oh my god, that's outrageous! How dare you? Your pixelated character offends my eyeballs. Well, don't look at it then.
Yeah, don't look. Shut your eyes.
It's not made for you. Piss off.
Don't play it. Don't look at it.
It's not your prudeness is not their target audience, right? You're not the target of the people that play the game. So who gives a fuck if you're offended, because you've got nothing to do with it anyway? So shut your mouth and move on. It's irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with you. Oh my god, I gotta go to a massive
I can feel it.
Breathe. It does. It winds me up.
And out.
Then
out.
And then. Oh, we need to fix
fuck you, naysayers.
I thought I tried saving it towards the end. He still managed to squeak one in.
I know, right?
Oh, my beat machine's gonna go off crazy this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Anyway,
Right, sense of 3D. Right, that one, that one, that one, that one.
Oh dear.
Right, there's one more thing I want to mention before we wrap
Okay,
up. I know it's late. I know it's we're getting on.
we need to get to Beth's
Um,
joke.
yeah, best joke. Just 5 minutes. I could talk about the Kardashian Roblox scandal, but I'm not going to talk about that because
Oh
I
no,
don't care about.
that's why I glossed over it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I don't even want to give them any
I don't
any
even-
any airtime. I
Yeah.
hate them. Right, and there's one thing I wanted to talk about. If I can find the article, because there's one a little bit of fresh. There we go. Now we all know we've played Lost Ark. And we all know how I feel about Lost Ark because I had a little rant on the podcast a little while ago. Despite the game being
You
like
had a
heavily,
rant.
I did. I think so.
When?
I can't. Almost every week, isn't it? No, I don't. I don't know if I did or not. Did I?
No.
Did you what?
I'm
I
pretty
think-
sure I did.
Yeah,
Did
If I
you
didn't,
what?
if I didn't, I'm gonna have one now. So
What? Oh, a rant about it.
yeah, rant about Lost Ark, and
I'm pretty sure
it's
you had a
much-
little one.
yeah,
Just a
about
little one.
yeah. Right, microtransactions in this game. They're taking the Mickey now, right? Obviously they've got a new free expansion. I say free, it's not free. They've shoved so much pay to win stuff in this game. It was already pay to win anyway. Uh, if you're not familiar with what I said before, I'll give you a quick 10-second breakdown. They overcharged and they overhyped, and the game was unplayable for me. And I spent 20 quid on it, and I couldn't play it, and I lost my money, and I couldn't get a refund. That's why I have, and I still can't play the game. I installed it 5 days ago, and I still couldn't log in. So yeah, right.
That's
Anyway,
terrible.
Lost Ark. They've brought out this new expansion pack called Battle for the Throne of Chaos. Adds a new class, adds a bunch of new weapons and items, and grindy stuff. You can get a new zone. And basically, they've introduced us a battle pass and a super battle pass and
Oh
a
my.
super duper battle pass on top of the
Oh
super battle
God.
pass and the battle pass. So you've got 3 types of battle pass. Only lasts for 30 days. The first entry is $20. The super duper duper battle pass is $100. So and all you get is a bunch of XP items, and you get some costumes, and you get like a pet and some other in-game benefits and a bit of in-game currency. But the whole thing's a joke. It's only 30 levels, so it's really short to do if you play all the time. But someone that's casual player that would say, for instance, a casual player would pay for the £20 one doesn't play very often, wouldn't be able to complete it in that time frame. Not 30 days. Because say if you're at work for 5 out of 7 of the days every week, even if you played all day every day at the weekend, you're still not going to get through that content. So it's a massive pay to win, nonsense, and a shame on Amazon and Smilegate for introducing this. And the thing is, it was all predicted. It's all been predicted. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. He's a Russian YouTuber. He's got nothing to do with the fiasco over there. He's a Lost Ark YouTuber, and he does he predicted that the Europe side of Lost Ark would fail miserably because of the greed. And he said that there's no way in hell they're going to be able to make this game without ruining the game through pay-to-win mechanics. And he was absolutely right. Asmongold has done a video, or a couple of video reactions to him. If you want to know who I'm talking about, look up Asmongold Lost Ark Russian reaction, and you'll watch his guy's videos. Very funny, very informative, and he predicted all of it. And it's a sad state of affairs when the game's barely, but game's been out 2 months, 3 months, and you now want to milk your fan base dry because the game's going to die off, and they're going to milk that cow clean to get all the fandom money out of that little udder, that little dingling udder that's still ripe for the picking, and they're going straight for it, hold a ham over it. And it's just so infuriating why they do these games. This game should have been one of the best games of the year. Should have been one of the best go-to MMOs. It's made the Korean market. It's one of the best-selling games. It's one of the best games over there. And not only do they spend a ridiculous amount of money, they also give a ridiculous amount of currency and stuff back. So that's the message. That is the biggest difference between their culture and the culture of Europe is that Europe don't give anything away for free. There's always
No.
a catch. They don't reinvest into the player base. They don't reinvest into the game. They just charge, and so the people get fed up of playing it and fed up of paying for it, and then the game fizzles out into nothingness, and then all you got left is the hardcore whales that have already spent an absolute fortune on it, and the die-hard fans that don't want to abandon it because they've spent so many hours and X amount of money in it. So the game is it's a sad day to be a Lost Ark player, especially if you're free to play, because they just raised that bar more higher for you to try and get anywhere in the game. And there's absolutely no progression as a free to play player unless you grind every day 12 hours. And this has been calculated by the dude I was talking about, 12 hours a day, non-stop, 7 days a week. And even then, it'll take you a year to get
What?
half the end game content
Oh
that
my
you would
god.
get if you paid for it within a day, 3 days, a week.
Ew.
So
That's
it's
hard.
it's totally scummy. It's a
Yeah.
really bad thing to do, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I, for one, I'm boycotting Lost Ark. I am never ever supporting them, and this will be the last time I mention them on the podcast, because Sodom, screw them, F them, go away, go back into your hole that you crawled out from and stay there. Never rear your ugly head, or I'm going to stamp on it. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I,
Metaphorically speaking, of course. Obviously, I'm never going to
Hmm.
do anything of that sort of kind. I'm not a violent person.
I
No,
just
I'm not. Honestly, they're just greedy gits, greedy corporations. It's just the ugly side of gaming once again. And I'm not going to end on a bad note, because I want to end on a funny note. And there is something funny I saw here. So that's it for the Last Ark nonsense.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about. Where did it go? I saw it.
Well,
Elden Ring. Well, there's the Elden Ring, the gift that keeps on giving.
yeah.
Elden Ring's poison panties problem is patched. I
Oh
found
my
this for an
god.
issue, right?
What?
So, deathbed smalls are being dropped into multiplayer games, leading to bans of people who picked them up.
Oh my god. Poison patty problem.
The
Oh
tale of
my
the troublesome
god.
typey whiteys is over, thanks to the big 1.4 patch update rolled out this week. Great many other things. The fix the bug that allowed unauthorized items to be passed to other players, which a Bandai Namco Entertainment rep confirmed in an email, includes deathbed smalls. It's unauthorized. You have to use a cheat to get the item into the game. So while you apparently can still bring the smalls into your own game if you want, you can no longer fix it on others. So this
Oh.
there you go. There's the tighty whiteys, deathbed
Oh my
smalls that you
god.
get from an NPC, and you can trade them with other players, or leave them as a present for other people to pick up. Um,
Oh my god.
that's funny. It's immediate ban, but I'd fail to see that. I've seen so many things. How many hackers in this game? That's why I don't PvP or co-op anymore, because you just get hackers come in and just ruin your game.
Yeah.
But that's why my level 713 character is now allowed to be used.
Mm.
Thanks to a mod set I have. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, so that's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're playing a bit of Elden Ring. You kill the bad guy, and he leaves a nice pair of knickers for you behind to pick up as a reward.
Oh my
There you
god.
go. Have some knickers because you lost or you won, whatever the case may be. So that apparently was a massive issue. So they patched it.
Wow.
I don't see the pot. I don't. It's an
Wow.
in-game item. Who gives a monkeys? Honestly, that's bad.
That's
That's a
funny.
bannable offense. If
Really.
you're not supposed to have it, why is it in the game?
Yeah,
Why
why?
is it in the game if you're not supposed to have it?
What's wrong with pants?
Yeah. What's wrong with lingerie? Well,
Yeah.
you're a lingerieist. Sort it out.
Lingerie is fine.
Yeah, that's a bit. I like how they used one of the NPCs that literally is just wearing a gown and that's it. So he's got nothing on underneath that. So and she's a bad guy. I don't like her. Anyway, and that's it for the bit of fun news on the end there to lighten the mood up.
Yeah.
After the name that shall not be spoken ever again.
Yes.
Right. So we'll hand back to Funny Bits now to see what we're going to do. I think we're close to wrapping up now.
I think we're Well, time. I mean, we should move over to. We should allow Beth to come in with the joke of the week. I think
Beth's joke of the week.
Joke of the week
Beth's
means
joke
that
of the
you're
week.
coming to an end, and then
Beth's joke of the week.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yay.
That's it. Okay,
Sorry, Steve.
so
we got there. So sort of. We got the jingle almost.
So
the jingle is in a work in
It's
progress.
a work in progress. Yeah.
I got carried away.
I was gonna say, I tried doing my joke of the week.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little different from now on. So I found this. I know people can't see it because if they're listening to it, but people who can see it, I'm sure you can read that.
So,
I think
it says the really stupid joke book.
Yeah, really stupid joke.
If
book.
I just read the title of the book, and then it clarifies that whole scenario, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm showing. Yeah, I got a book, and it says the really stupid joke book. And what I'm gonna do every week is basically open a page to a random page. Count how many jokes there are, and I'm gonna ask my two wonderful co-hosts which number to pick, and then I'll tell that joke.
Are you gonna ask one of us or both of us, and then you do two? Or are you gonna randomly pick one of us?
Yeah, okay. I'll randomly pick one of you every week. Okay, so hang on.
Under pressure.
All right, so there's 7 jokes. Please pick Freedy. Pick a number between 1 and 7, please.
6.
Okay. All right. This is not my fault if it's bad because you chose it. All right.
Oh no! See, now you're passing the buck.
Okay, so this is in quotations. I did not come to class. I did not come into the classroom to listen to you. Do you lot being impertinent? Close question mark. Complained the teacher. Oh, where do you usually go, miss? Oh, yeah, that's the joke. So,
Oh, I think right. Whilst everyone composes themselves, I think from that, I think we should end it there. As always, thank you very much to my two co-hosts, the Freedyshow. Thank you very much for being here. And the pizza that is Beth.
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
I'm sorry I did that to you.
Thank you so much for being here today. Can you just tell us before we go if you have any socials that you like anyone to know about?
Me?
You? Yeah, you? Yeah.
Yeah, me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go first. You could do this one.
Yeah, so I'll be on Twitch, PizzaBeth. Search it up. There's a pizza icon. That's me. I'm gonna be trying to play Beat Saber in the next week. Until I I don't want to. I don't want to.
Okay, all right. We'll let
maybe
you off.
maybe at some point, but not the first time I'm back. Yeah, so I'll be trying to sort out how the music does it, blah blah blah. Be sorting that out, and I'll be playing next week, and hopefully I'll be able to set up like custom songs and all that stuff, so you can request songs and stuff. But yeah, I'll be around next week, so come on by, and yeah, I'll be playing games with Mr. Steve and Freedy. So yeah.
Yep.
That's me.
Freddie?
Yeah, you'll find me at twitch.tv/Freedyshow. I'm going to be playing Resident Evil, Final Fantasy VII Remake next week. I'm going to drop Resident Evil 8 because I can't be bothered to play it again. So I'm just going to drop it, and I'm going to go back to one of the games that I really, really, really enjoy, and I haven't streamed, and I really love, and I'm going to be streaming that. I'm going to be adding a stream day to my week as well. I'm going to be doing Monday and Tuesday for streaming games. Thursday is always it's going to be my community day, and obviously Saturday is always going to be podcast day. So 9 p.m. GMT British Standard Time. Please come along and give me a follow and hang out and chat. We have lots of fun things to do. Channel points. You can make me scared, and you can scare the producers out of me with the stuff as well. You can request games as well. There's loads of stuff you can do. Come along, and I'm still on the road to 200 followers. Please help me hit that goal. We hit that goal, I'll be able to do a giveaway, which I've been wanting to do since I come up with a 200 follower target, and I still ain't hit it yet. So I'm 7 away. So come on, 7 followers, 7 little followers, please, please. Yeah. Anyway, that's me begging done.
As for myself, it's twitch.tv/Funnybitboi, and also you can find me over on Twitter with at Funnybitboi. Yeah, you could just message me on that, or message me on wherever you can find me. I haven't really. I don't know why, because I need help to set up a Discord, but I do have a Discord, but it's not fully set up. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll just merge one as a podcast one. I think we should do that.
Let's make a Bits and Pieces podcast.
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier. Yeah, so you could just message any one of us. The links to all of our socials and that will be in the description down below. Usually to all of our YouTube channels, all of our Twitters, and obviously our Twitch channels. So follow all of us. Pick one. Just follow all of us. Get Freddy to his 200 goal, because he's waiting to give away. He's waiting to spend money, people.
I've already spent it. I've got keys. I've got keys for days.
He's got keys for days. So yeah, get Freddy to his 200. Get Freddy to his 100.
I've got actual keys.
There's actual keys there. Get his YouTube to 100, so you can drop the long ass name, which is a thing that happens. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, links are everywhere. Links for all of us down below. Please like, share, subscribe to podcast, because subscribing to any of the channels, like we're gonna download it. Spotify, iTunes, leave a review. Spotify, iTunes, Now Music, Amazon Music, anywhere that you can find your podcast on. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, that way you're never going to miss an episode. Episode 25 has now come to an end. Next one's going to be 26. That's going to be next week, next Saturday.
Whoa.
And yeah, I'll be around tomorrow, probably on a Sunday, and then hopefully I'll be back again next week. I get a bank holiday Monday off, so I might even have an extra stream next week. So yeah, if you're around,
yeah,
extra stream for me next week. So thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for watching if you was watching live. Thanks for listening if you were listening anywhere, wherever you are, on the move or at the gym or whatever it is you've been up to. Thanks very much for being here, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Woohoo!
Awesome. Yeah, I can't. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip tonight. I'm knackered, mate. So yeah,